Quantifiers. A quantifier is a word that usually goes before a noun to express the quantity of the object. Most quantifiers are accompanied by a noun, but they can also be used without a noun when it is obvious what we are referring to. There are quantifiers to describe large quantities, for example, a lot, much, many, small quantities, for example, a little, a bit, a few, and undefined quantities, for example, some, any. There are also quantifiers that express the idea of a sufficient amount, for example, enough, plenty. In this lesson, we will learn about different types of quantifiers in detail. Quantifiers with nouns. Quantifiers are very important words because they let us express the quantity of something. There are some quantifiers that have a similar meaning but differ because one is used with countable nouns, and the other is used with uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are things that we can count, for example, a table, 2 chairs. Uncountable nouns are things that we cannot count and only have a singular form, for example, some furniture, some fruit. Much, many, a lot of. Let's start by looking at quantifiers that express large quantities. We use much, many, a lot of to refer to big quantities. We use many with countable nouns and much with uncountable nouns, and we can use a lot of with both countable and uncountable nouns. Many plus countables. For example, many pens. Much plus uncountables. For example, much money. A lot of plus countables. For example, a lot of pens. A lot of plus uncountables. For example, a lot of money. Examples of much, many, a lot of. In English, it is very common to use a lot of in affirmative sentences instead of many and much. Here are some examples on how to use much, many, a lot of in sentences. How much does the dress cost? There are many things to do today. We have a lot of time left, don't worry. A few, a little, a bit of. To talk about small quantities, we can use a few and a little. We use a few with countable nouns and a little with uncountable nouns. A few plus countables. For example, a few students. A little plus uncountables. For example, a little water. It's also possible to use a bit with uncountable nouns, but it is more informal. A bit plus uncountables. For example, a bit of salt. Examples of a few, a little, a bit of. Few and little imply a quantity which is essentially small or smaller than expected. Let's look at some examples on how to use a few, a little, a bit of in sentences. We need a few coins for the car park. Would you like a little milk in your coffee? The engine needs a bit of oil. Some, any. With examples. When we want to refer to a plural noun or an uncountable noun, without giving a specific quantity, we use some and any. We use some in affirmatives and any in questions and negatives. Here are examples using some and any in sentences. We have some free time later this afternoon. She doesn't want any coffee. I went to some meetings in Italy last week. Do they need any bread? Enough, plenty of, with examples. The words enough and plenty express the idea of being a sufficient quantity. Both words can go with countable and uncountable nouns. We use plenty of to mean there is more than a sufficient quantity of something. Here are some examples of enough and plenty in sentences. We don't have enough fruit. Let's get some more. Slow down. We have plenty of time to get to the airport. Questions about quantity. When we want to ask the quantity of something, we use how much or how many. How many plus countables. For example, how many spoons are there? How much plus uncountables. For example, how much pineapple juice do we have? Some more examples of how many and how much in sentences. How many times have you visited India? How much time have you got? How many people were at the meeting? How much fuel should I fill? Thank you.